So Simon Says is one of those games that, with a few rule tweaks, it actually becomes kind of a fun game rather than that game where once you make a mistake, you don't get the opportunity to learn from it, and then you have to leave the game, right? So, because we don't try to teach people in life, at work, just in general, that if you make a mistake, try to learn from it and try not to make it again, right? So for this game, I need everybody to go ahead and stand up, right, where you're standing. You can stand behind your chair, push that in if you want to. You need about this much space. We're just going to arms up and arms down here in a moment. So you need to be able to see me as up here at the front. So if someone tall is standing in front of you, you might have to adjust yourself to the side here a little bit. So, all right. So in the old version of Simon Says, is there anybody in the room that is not familiar with the game of Simon Says and doesn't know the basic foundation of the game? Anybody? So in the old version, Simon gave you some commands. So Simon might have said left hand up, but you don't do that command unless Simon says left hand up, right? So that foundation is still the same. So in a minute, I'm going to give you some commands, but you don't do any of the commands unless I start the command with the words Simon Says. So if I said left hand up, you wouldn't do that. You'd wait until I said Simon Says left hand up, and then you would put your hand up. So that foundation is still the same. Now, one rule tweak or one rule difference for this is if you make a mistake in this version of Simon Says, then what I want you to do, instead of getting out, nobody's going to get out, but instead what I want you to do is just give yourself a point for every mistake that you make. Okay? So you're going to keep track of your own points in your own mind, and nobody really cares how many points you have. Okay? Ideally, you would try to have as few points possible, right? Because that meant you made the fewest amount of mistakes. But there's going to be somebody here in the room that gets 17 points. They're going to be like, woohoo, I got 17. Anybody else have 17? That person's here today, and it's totally okay. Okay? The points don't really matter. Okay? Now, one additional rule is flinching totally counts as a point. Okay, so if I say both hands up and you totally do that number, flinching counts as a point. So just give yourself a point again. The points don't really matter. Okay, so flinching, and if you make a mistake, give yourself a point. So that's one of the new rules. The other new rule is this, is that in a minute I'm going to start the game, and I'm going to say the game of Simon Says has officially begun. And the game will continue until you hear me say the game of Simon Says is officially over. The game will play the entire time in between those two statements. And that is a very important rule to remember. Okay? All right, so this is what I'm going to ask you to do during this version of Simon Says. It'll be both hands up, both hands down, right hand up, right hand down, left hand up, left hand down. So not too terribly difficult on a, Tuesday morning? Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Now, the one thing I'm going to ask you to do that you probably haven't seen before is clapping position. So if you hear me say, Simon Says clapping position, it looks like this. And I want you to make the noise because it's really cool when everyone does it together. Okay, so let's practice that one, okay? Simon Says clapping position. See, it's cool, isn't it? And then I might say clap once, clap twice, and things like that, but don't do it unless Simon tells you to do it, okay? All right. Are there any questions before we begin the game? No questions? All right, then, if there's no questions, then the game of Simon Says has officially begun. All right, here we go. Both hands up. Oop, not yet. That's all right. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Just give yourself a point. It's not a big deal. All right, let's try that one again. Both hands up. See, that's called learning right there. Nicely done. Nicely done. Simon Says both hands up. Both hands down. Oop, not yet. That's all right. Just a point. Not a big deal. Right hand. Simon Says both hands down. Right hand up. Simon Says right hand up. Good job. Right hand down. Simon Says right hand down. It's all right, just a point. It's not a big deal. Left hand up. Simon Says left hand up. Left hand down. Simon Says left hand down. It's hard, isn't it? Both hands up. Simon Says both hands up. Both hands down. Simon Says both hands down. Good job. Right hand up. Simon Says right hand up. Right hand down. Simon Says right hand down. All right, nicely done. Good job. Now that's the end of phase one. Okay. Now my version of Simon Says has 3 phases to it. Okay. Now phase one is what I call the skill building phase. Now skill building phase is kind of getting you used to the actions and the motions, and my pace is a little slower. Kind of like what I call new staff training, things like that, right? Where you got to kind of walk people through what's about to happen. And now phase 2, we're about to go into phase 2, and phase 2 is hard. I am going to throw some really big tricks at you in phase 2, so you need to be a really good listener. And then there's a phase 3, but we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, but I always kind of like to do a quick check-in just to kind of see how everybody is doing. So raise your hand if you still have 0 points. Anybody? Not anymore! Remember how I said I was going to throw some tricks? That was my first one. All right, Simon says raise your hand if you still have 0 points. Anybody? Ooh, nicely done. Good job. Go ahead and put your hands down. Simon says go ahead and put your hands down. And Simon, I told you, it's tricky. It's going to be hard, so be a really good listener. So like I said, phase 1 was the skill building phase. Phase 2 is hard. I am going to throw some big tricks at you, so be a really good listener, okay? All right. Simon says take a big deep breath in and out. All right, I always like to center people before I have you go in. All right, here we go. Both hands up. Good job. Simon says both hands up. Both hands down. Simon says both hands down. Right hand up. Simon says right hand up. Right hand down. Simon says right hand up. Ooh, right, told you it's going to be hard. Simon says right hand down. Left hand up. Simon says left hand down. It's hard, isn't it? Simon says left hand up. Left hand down. Simon says left hand up. You're going to get it. I know you can. Simon says left hand down. Both hands up. Simon says both hands down. You're like, dang it. Right? Simon says both hands up. Both hands down. Simon says both hands up. Ooh, good job. Simon says both hands down. All right, I'll quit torturing you now. Go ahead and shake that out. Simon says go ahead and shake that out. All right, so a little teachable moment nugget that I like to throw in here right at the end of phase 2 of Simon is that it's really hard to follow a leader whose actions don't match their words, right? And that's really obvious there in phase 2 of Simon. All right, so like I said, phase 1 was the skill building phase. Phase 2 was hard. Now we're going to get into phase 3. Phase 3 is just fun. It's kind of the recovery phase after the hard stuff. We're going to throw in some clapping position, and then I will end the game, okay? All right, Simon says take a big deep breath in and out. All right, here we go. Both hands up. Good job. I'm not going to get anybody on that one anymore. Both hands up. Oh, good, I really didn't. Nicely done. Simon says both hands up. Both hands down. Simon says both hands down. Simon says clapping position. Clap once. Simon says clap once. Clap twice. I know the audio feedback totally gives you away too, right? There's no way you can get away with it. Simon says clap twice. Clap once. Good job. Go ahead and put your hands down. Simon says go ahead and put your hands down. Left hand up. Simon says left hand up. Left hand down. Simon says left hand down. Simon says clapping position. Clap once. Simon says clap once. Clap twice. Good job. Oh, close. A little audio feedback over here on this left side of the room. Simon says clap twice. Clap once. Good job. Simon says clap once. Clap twice. Good job. Simon says clap continuously. Good job. Good job. Go ahead and stop. Go ahead and stop. Oh, you guys, stop it. Oh, stop. Stop. Simon says stop. That's just fun for Simon. Simon says clap twice. Clap once. Good job. Go ahead and put your hands down. Simon says go ahead and put your hands down. Simon says right hand up. Simon says take your right hand and pat yourself on the back for a job well done. The game of Simon Says is officially over. Nicely done. So tell me, what did you like? What did you like about that version of Simon Says compared to the old version? Say it again. Yeah, a lot more fun. Why was a lot more fun? Yeah, so everyone's expressions. And then also you weren't eliminated, right? Like you didn't have to leave the game. And it gave you an opportunity to learn from your mistakes and try not to make them again, right? How many of you, as soon as you made a mistake, you're like, ooh, she is not going to get me on that one again, right? Like then all of a sudden, internally in your brain, you're totally having this conversation with yourself, like, ooh, she's not going to, like, and then you're like, dang it. She totally got me again, right? Because, some of us, it takes a little longer to learn lessons than others, right? But then also, you started developing strategies for yourself for success, right? And probably particularly around phase 2, when all of a sudden my actions didn't match my words, right? So I'm curious, how many of you actually changed the way that you followed me in phase 2 of Simon Says? What did you do differently? Closed your eyes. What was another strategy? Waited until you heard everything I said and then you made a move. Okay, what else? What was another strategy? Anybody else? Some people either close their eyes or they look down at the floor. You just stop looking to me altogether for leadership, right? Because what happened? In phase 2, you no longer trusted me, right? Because I said one thing and then I did the exact opposite. So if you think about that metaphor and relating it back to the real world, that for me as a leader, if I am, when I'm talking about creating a culture of accountability, if I have one set of rules and the people that I work with have a different set of rules, it's really hard to follow me when I say one thing but do the exact opposite. Like, hey, you guys do this, but then I do the exact opposite. It's hard to follow me. And so there's a lot of great research around why that is and why that works, which we're going to get into here in a moment. But if you think about the concept of mirror neurons in our brains and just how much extra energy it probably took you to follow me in phase 2 than it did some of the other phases. Like when all of a sudden you had to completely come up with a new strategy for success for yourself, you expended a lot of extra energy doing that. And if you translate that back to the real world, in the workplace, anytime somebody has to, they come against a challenging person or something that challenges them, and now all of a sudden I have to create a strategy for myself in order to be successful in that environment. Now all of a sudden that's taking extra time, effort, and energy away from probably what my actual tasks are, rather than focusing on, the job at hand, right?